Hello and welcome to episode 41 of the Indie String Podcast. I'm your host, Kay, also known as Indie String on Ravelry and Instagram and Facebook. Please come and find me and, let's hook up on the social webs. And I want to see what you guys are doing and hopefully you want to see what I'm doing. Thanks everyone for being patient with my little break there. I had a really big week and as I predicted, I didn't even really get to knit. So I didn't knit for a week and I got really grouchy. Super grouchy, and I was so annoyed, and I thought about it and I was like, maybe it's because I'm just running around and I'm super tired. And then finally, when all the dust settled and I picked up my knitting needles and knit for a while, I was like, I feel so much better. So knitting is, my therapy. But it was hard to be away from you guys too. And tonight I'm drinking Squirt. I really think Squirt is an underappreciated pop. It doesn't get its props like it should. I love Squirt. And I can't really find it in restaurants. And it's usually not in a lot of grocery stores for me around here on the West Coast. So I saw it and I snagged it. Anyways, after that weird infomercial, let's get to what I have been knitting. So I'm going to pardon and, preface that I didn't knit for a week. And so I'm going to get everything out. But I'm going to stop it real quick because I am shaking the camera and I want to stop that. So hopefully that helps the shaking a little bit. I readjusted myself. All right, so I've been knitting on the Tanqueray by Baby Cocktails, or also known as Thea Coleman. And I've been knitting this out of Pigeon Roof Merino Cashmere Silk. This is the base she no longer carries. And I have been working on the sleeves at the same time, and I finished those up. So here's one, and here's the other. As I talked about the last time I recorded, they're very long. I stopped more than an inch before the pattern called me to stop doing a straight section. And I still think they're pretty long for me. So what I'm going to do is I only had 5 skeins, and this took almost 2. So I'm a little worried about the body of my sweater that I'm going to run out of yarn, and I can't get it anymore. So this is normal for me. I'm always afraid I'm going to run out, even if I'm not going to. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to soldier on. I have wound up my next skein of yarn, and I'm going to start the back and see how far I can get on the back and see how much that takes me. Of the 2 skeins that I knit the 2 sleeves from and I knit a swatch from, this is all I have left. So I'm hoping that this can get me the collar. It has a picked up collar on the front, I think. I think it's picked up, but we'll see. I haven't read all the way through the pattern, which I really should because this pattern keeps on throwing curveballs at me, but I guess I like to just figure it out. I'm good at improvising, but yeah, I got the sleeves done. They are lovely. This colorway is called Honey, and it does look like honey to me. It's a nice golden orange amber, and the sleeve detail is lovely. Spread it out. It's twisted red, and there is what she calls a flower motif in there. So that's great. The rest of the hem for the back, and the hem is just twisted stitch. It doesn't have any of this flower motif in it, and then it's just stockinette. So it'll be pretty boring for you guys, but it'll make for a wonderful sweater, maybe. I know you guys will bear with me because you're awesome. So I'm going to cast that on right after I finish up the other thing that I was working on. So I'm really almost done. I have been knitting the Raw Honey Mitts by Alicia Palmer. I believe that's her name. And I'm trying to get it. It's stuck in my project bag. Do you hate that? I hate when that happens. I have too much stuff stuffed in here. But I finished one. And this is what it looks like. I'm actually going to put it on for you guys. This is out of Indie String yarn, out of my Superior Worsted, the only weight that I currently have. This yarn is specially milled for me in Michigan, and it's dyed in Michigan. And I love it. This is one of my favorite colorways. It's called Chipper, and it almost looks like a pumpkin. It's orange like a pumpkin. It's getting kind of washed out. It's much warmer in real life, and it's got little splashes of green, and it's awesome. I love it. So these are going to be my work mittens and driving to work. I finished the body of this mitten, and I'm just picking up. I only have 7 more rounds of ribbing, and then I can bind off the thumb. And once I do that, I am going to soak them and cut off the ends. I do weave my ends in, but I do not cut them fully until after I soak them, just to make sure that if there is any stretching while I block this, that it gets kind of situated in there and it gets a little give into that. So very excited, loving them, and they will be done tonight after I record. And I kind of wanted to hold off. I was going to finish them before I recorded, and I was going to wait like 15 minutes to record and then soak them and possibly record tomorrow. But number one, you won't be able to see them if I recorded tonight, and I didn't want to delay one more day because I'm already took kind of time off from recording. And second, it's been really wet here. It's definitely full swing in the winter, although it's warm. The high today was 70, but it was, we're supposed to get 2 inches of rain and 30-mile-an-hour winds. So it might be warm, however, you can't do anything about it. You can't really go outside. So I knew they went dry. They're probably going to take 2 days to dry at least. But I'm loving it. Loving the yarn. I know it sounds so silly that I say I love the yarn, but I spent a lot of time developing it, picking out the fiber content, getting it milled, getting it tested, and everything else. And so to now knit with it and have stuff made out of it, and to like the finished product, it was such a journey, you know. So every single time I knit with my yarn, I just think about all of that time. And it took me about a year to really get it, figure it out, source everything, get it milled, and get it dyed. So crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. So this is a project bag. It's an Indie String project bag. We don't have any project bags up right now, but we will eventually. Everything's a work in progress. And this is our large size. I would say I can fit 4 skeins of a worsted in this size. So I started a new project. I set down the mitts for a while. I don't know why I did it. Actually, I do know. This is how lazy I am. So I was downstairs and I was ready to cast off on the main body of the mitt, and I didn't have any scissors. So that's normal in my house. They kind of disappear. I think the culprit is my 6-year-old. I don't know where she's stashing all of them, but I haven't been able to find them yet. And my house is tiny, so she, you know, must have a really good spot. And she loves scissors. She loves cutting stuff. So, that's not very good for me. Although I have gotten her to stop cutting her hair. You know, so that's in a plus column. And everything else is kind of, you know, a work in progress. So this is out of Indie String yarn. And this is the colorway Celery, which is a very bright yellow green color. And I'm knitting Kindling. This is a Brooklyn Wool People pattern, and it is a very large textured shawl. So I'm not very far in. I think 31 rows in, and I am really liking the pattern. The only thing about this pattern, I would say it's a beginning pattern. You have knits, purls, increases, and then cables. But the cables are only 2 stitches. They're very easy. You can do them with, and actually the only directions in there is without a cable needle. It is extremely easy. And the effect is very nice. The only thing about this pattern is you need to read through all of the notes. That's mainly true for a lot of Brooklyn Tweed patterns. They have notes at the beginning of the pattern, and those tell you instructions about certain just construction elements of the piece that you're knitting. And so for this piece, in the notes, it said you will increase 4 stitches at the border and 2 in the middle. That's very normal for a shawl pattern. Almost all shawl patterns increase 2 to 4 stitches dependent upon the pattern and the shape of the shawl and some other things. But they all have increases so that they get larger unless you're knitting from the border and knitting in, and then you're going to have decreases. But they talked about where those increases were supposed to be. They didn't tell you what increases to use at all in the pattern. And then when you actually got into like the setup rows and the charts, they don't have the increases anywhere, and they don't mention them at all. They just assume that you read the notes and that you know where you're supposed to increase. So that's neither good nor bad. Typical patterns that I have knit before, so I haven't knit every pattern out there, but the ones that I'm familiar with shawls, they actually put in the increases, maybe not in the charts, but they will have prominent instructions of where you should increase, how you should increase. Not in the notes in the beginning of the pattern, but actually when you start the body, they will reiterate where you're supposed to do those increases. And this pattern does not. So that's, I think, the only tricky thing. Other than that, I would suggest this to be a beginning shawl pattern. It's knit out of a worsted weight yarn, which is good. I like thicker shawls, bigger, thicker shawls. I find that they are very useful. They feel more like a blanket to me, so when I'm very cold, I do wear them quite a bit. I wear them to work a lot, and I can put them over my legs when they get cold. But I mean, there's a shawl for everything, right? But so let's look. The border is that 2 stitch cable, which is really nice. I can get it to focus completely. There you go. And then you kind of have this branching motif. So I picked this colorway for this pattern for 2 reasons. First, it's a very light pattern. Light colors reflect the light from the light source in any environment that you are in. So right now I'm in a room lit by a light bulb, and so that light source hits the yarn and it reflects back so you can see it. When you knit with a light colored yarn, this color does not absorb that light very much, so that you can see the cable, well, the branching motif or any texture much better than if I was to knit in a dark yarn. Sorry, my computer started to go to sleep there. And the second is that this yarn is very springy. See? Boom! It goes right back up. It's got a lot of smush to it, which I like for textured stitches and in stockinette knit. But it will be a very cozy, comfy. Sometimes I like to sit there and when I'm reading and stuff at work, I like to kind of play with it, I guess, rearrange it, and then excuse me, this squirt's making me burp. Smush it in my hands. So I like this, and I like this pattern a lot. And it's a very, I don't know, I've wanted to knit it for a while, so it's kind of exciting to me. And the second main reason why I picked this is that, to me, these look like trees. And what better than like a neon, it's not neon, it's just a very bright yellow-green to knit with. To me, I used to see once in a great while there's these certain trees, and I don't know what they are, my mom could probably tell me, that would change colors, and this is what it would change to. Just spots on it. So that is going as well. And I've been concentrating on getting that set up so that I can do mindless knitting on it, because it will probably take me a while. That shawl calls for about 750 yards, so I need about 800 yards of my yarn, so 4 skeins to be able to do it. So I got those skeins. So I thought I would take the opportunity to show you guys how the yarn comes, right? So you get a package, it's wonderful, but every single skein is wrapped individually, and you get this little, it's sealed with a sticker that says thanks, and you open it up, and there it goes. Yours will have a tag, I promise. And here we go. So I have 4 of these matching skeins, and I'm very, very excited. Okay, so that's all the knitting I have. So I finished the sleeves. I'm pretty near done with the mitts, and then I started a new project. So not that bad, I guess. So what else have I been doing? So I have been spinning. Amazing, right? So I finished, I think I showed you guys a few weeks ago, I finished a merino cashmere silk blend by Becoming Art in the Hearth colorway, Hearth colorway, sorry, which is like a burnt orange. And I really love spinning that, but it is not more difficult. It's just a very different spin than like BFL. And so I wanted something that was different to spin just for a break. And so I picked out this Nest. This is from Nest Fiber Arts. The colorway is called a Glacial Melt, and this is a mixed BFL colorway. So I spun this into a chain, and then I Navajo plied it, which basically equates to a 3-ply, which everybody knows are my favorite. I got about 220 yards out of 4 ounces. I would say it varies from a sport to a DK weight. I have no idea what I'm going to make out of it. So my main I shouldn't say complaint, but my main notice about this fiber is that I had not Navajo plied in a while, and I usually change the ratios on my wheel to be slower, and I didn't this time. So it is a very tight ply. I like tight plies in general. However, I think I over plied it just a bit, and I'm hoping that it will focus on that so you can see it. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, camera. But anyways, it is beautiful. And I really, really am happy with it. It was just the break that I needed. That other colorway that I had spun from Becoming Art, I have a companion colorway by Squish Fiber Arts that I'm going to spin, and then I'm going to ply those together. So I just wanted kind of a quick, easy, fast and dirty project to spin and to finish something. I haven't finished a spinning project in months, you guys. It's so pathetic. And sometimes you forget what it's like to finish it and how awesome it can be. So I love it. It's amazingly beautiful. Okay, next up is shop stuff. Wow, I'm going fast, you guys. And then I'll do shop, and then I'll do rants and raves. So there has been some colorways released. Even though I don't podcast, the schedule kind of for the shop is that at least one colorway is released a week, a new colorway. And so the lineup is always expanding off. And we usually do that on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And so we have released 2 colorways. One is a Halloween colorway, and it's called Zombie Flesh. It looks like rotting flesh. It wasn't necessarily my intention when I put it in the pot, but when I pulled it out and dried it, I mean, when it got done, it totally zombie flesh. So that is a one of a kind, and that's only going to be offered for October and until it sells out. If someone really wants a lot of it, just let us know, and we'll be happy to dye you up some. I have the recipe. However, it's great. I think it's wonderful. However, my mother does not like it. So, you know, you got to do the wishes of other people sometimes. But it's a great Halloween colorway. I really like it. It's nice and light. It's flush colors, pink, and like a rotting gray, I guess is the only way I can say it. I think it's great. So I'll insert a picture of that. And then the next picture or of the colorway that I will insert is the permanent line. And that is Keweenaw Copper. Keweenaw Copper is a metal that is mined in northern Michigan in the UP. And it is like a copper color, that nice warm brown, and there's gray in it. When you mine the Keweenaw copper, it comes in rocks. That's mining, right? And so the rock itself is gray, and then you get this beautiful brown, warm, coppery color in the middle of the rock. And so that was my inspiration for that colorway. I think it's beautiful. It would make a lovely garment. A very nice, warm, and easy on the skin tone. So right now I'll insert a picture of zombie flesh and then a picture of Keweenaw copper, and then I'll see you in a second. Maybe a second again. Yeah, okay, now we're ready. Hi, you guys. You're back. So I hope you guys like them. And we will continue to release weekly. So go back and check out the shop and see if there's something that strikes your fancy. All right, and everything, oh, by the way, just one last thing. Everything that we release is available for custom order. Even typically my one-of-a-kinds, you can inquire if they are or aren't. Most likely, I have the recipes, I write everything down so I can recreate it. But usually it's just something that doesn't jive with the aesthetic of indie string, or it doesn't fit into the line, or it's too close to another colorway, that we decide, not to include it in the repeatable colorways. But that doesn't mean if you fall in love with something that I can't do it again. So just so you guys know, if you see something and you really like it, feel free to send us a message. I promise we're very nice. Okay, so rants and raves. My gosh, was it a rough week. I don't think I have been that busy since I can't remember the last time. So I had a baby shower, which I did knit for. It was well received. And then, so that was on Friday. On Sunday, I had a birthday party for another little boy that has ASD. And he's close to Jillian. And so Jillian and I went, and that was, pretty much Jillian being there was like one of his birthday presents from us. They don't get to see each other very often. They don't go to the same school. They used to go to the same daycare. And so that's really hard. I kind of feel guilty keeping them apart. But that's just kind of how life is sometimes. So we went. The kids had a great time. There was only one super awkward adult moment. So it was at a place that it's like a pizza parlor that has a huge indoor playground that's covered. And so the kids play. So I'm standing there with his mom, right? And he also went to kindergarten this year. And she says, how's Jillian doing in school? And I was like, oh, great. Just wonderful. She's really blooming. It's been so much better than I expected. And she looks at me, she's like, oh, well, good for you. That's good. It's good for you. Yeah. Super good. I was like, did you want me to say she was doing awful? It's like that's what she was expecting. I was like, you do not know my kid at all if you think that she would be doing awful in school. And so, I had reservations about her fitting in and her socially, but I didn't have, I don't know. So, I asked back how her son was doing, and he's doing well. However, there's a little bit more bumps, and so I would think she was hoping that we would connect over that kind of piece, like that it was difficult and there was challenges, and it didn't, and she didn't know what to say, and so she kind of told me about him and how he was doing, and I listened and tried to add in my 2 cents, but then she got really frustrated, I think, with me and left. She was like, okay, well, I need to go now. And I'm like, okay. It was really weird. And I felt like I needed to put, like, I put my foot in my mouth by not saying my kid did good. It was so awkward. And she just walked away, and I'm like, this is such an awkward adult moment. Like, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to make this not awkward. Awesome. So that was Sunday. And then Monday, thank goodness, was a rest day. And then my husband was gone. So he was gone all through the weekend, and he got back on Tuesday night. So picked up my husband, picked up my daughter, and went to another birthday party. That was all right. It's a little hard. That birthday party's hard. All these birthday parties are hard. I don't know any of the adults there. So a lot of times, we just kind of sit at a table by ourselves, and my kid plays with all the other kids, which it's fine. I just feel awkward. I try to talk to people. I promise I'm nice, but usually it's a lot of family and cousins and things like that. So it's like, how do you break into a family? You can't really. So that one was great. This is the problem I have about birthday parties. So all these people have a party at these pizza places. They have indoor parks, and they're wonderful, and the kids have a great time. They're like, come to my birthday party, buy my kid a present, and buy yourself your own food. Now, I'm not asking for a lot, but I guess for me, I would buy everybody pizza. It's not very expensive, and how much really can they eat? Like, so the first birthday party I went to with the other little boy, it was all family and us. And they did buy my pizza, which was very kind. And I very much appreciated it, because almost never does that happen. But I had already ordered a pizza. So I got it to go, and I put it at the end of my table and it's a big table, long tables with birthday party. And by the time I left, someone had stolen it. Awesome. And then the next birthday party, we bought our own pizza. Awesome. They just end up starting to cost me a lot of money. You know what I mean? When you go into these birthday parties, and I would never typically eat there, and I'm having to eat there, and my husband's on a diet, and he doesn't eat carbs, and so we order a pizza for my kid because it's all she's going to eat, and him a separate meal, and blah, blah, blah. That's just complaining me talking. So that was on Tuesday. On Wednesday was my anniversary, and my husband surprised me at work and brought me flowers, and it was very nice and lovely. And I love my husband, and we had a great anniversary. We didn't go out or do anything. After he brought me flowers, he went and got us dinner, so I didn't have to cook, and we ate out at home. Because I had to get ready for Thursday. My child turned 6. It was the birthday party! And I was nervous, and there was lots to do, and it turned out wonderful. About 27 people came. We bowled. We had pizza, because that's all there was available. Unfortunately, I would have bought salads and some other stuff, but I couldn't, and that's all there was. And we had cake, and it was great. It was great. We probably will do that again. It was very easy. I didn't have to clean anything up. No one had to be at my house. And bowling is one of those things that adults can do and kids can do. So, like, we had 2 lanes for the kids, and the bumpers were up, and they just bowled. I was like, just keep on bowling until you get bored. And some would bowl for, they would bowl for 10, 15 minutes, and then they would want to go play an arcade game, and they would come back and bowl, for another time. And there was kids, that's all they did was bowl, but it was great. It was totally open. It was all you could bowl for an hour. And they actually gave me about an hour and 15 or an hour and 20 minutes. And then the adults had very serious games going on. But everyone had a great time. I'm not a person that's very structured, like you have to do this and then you have to do that, and now everybody stopped doing this and we're going to go do that. They brought out our pizzas while everybody bowled and everybody ate, and it was great. You could kind of like stand around and talk with people and catch up and chat, and the kids could all play together. It was on a Thursday night, and there was no league, thank goodness. And the kids just just played. And one guy goes, "This is great. It's like having a babysitter. The kids are totally getting tired and getting all their energy out and having a great time, but I can still talk to this person next to me and not have a kid go, hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" So it was a smashing success. Jillian had a great time. We surprised her. We didn't tell her it was her birthday until we picked her up that day, and she wanted to be surprised. I was told to have a surprise party. So she was very surprised. She had everything she wanted. Believe me, she made me a list, and it was the first time I've done a birthday party for my kid. And I have to say it was totally worth it. I stressed out. I totally geeked out. I had an awful time with everything and thinking it wasn't enough. I wasn't doing enough or planning enough or all of that stuff. And in the end, I could have done nothing. You know, I could have not bought everybody food or paid for bowling or done anything, and it still would have been fine. But for me and for my family, it was the perfect reflection of us. And somebody at the party made the best comment I have ever heard, best compliment probably I've ever had. And she went and she said, your family is really beautiful. And I was like, thanks. And she's like, it really is. And that was it. I don't know really what to say back, but it was really nice to hear that. We are very private people. We don't really let a lot of people in to see our family structure, and all of us interact together a lot. And the birthday party was about 2.5 hours, and she was just like, just really cute. So it was really good. And then Friday rolled around. So on the weekend, we were supposed to go to a wedding. I had the gift, I had the card, I had everything picked out to go to the wedding. And unfortunately, we had a death in the family, in my husband's family. And so, you know how those things happen? Short notice, he got on a plane and he left. So he is still gone. He will be back tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. I haven't seen him. I feel like I have not seen my husband for a while. But, that's the nature of the beast sometimes. That's kind of my life. We go in definite waves of seeing each other, just because he travels so much for work. So he went home. I am very glad he went home. Family first. And everything's wrapping up there, and then he'll be coming back. So we did not go to the wedding. On one hand, I'm very sad because I really wanted to go to the wedding and support. And this was a family wedding, but it was for a second cousin on my husband's side. And his family is very small, and they all know each other. And they're close to their second cousins. So I know all my second cousins, but I know that's not a typical thing. And I hadn't seen them in a while, and it was a lot of the family that my husband knows, but we don't know because they don't live where we grew up. And so I had never met a lot of them. Unfortunately, it sounds really weird, but I didn't go by myself. It was about 4 hours away in a hotel. I'm back just for a second. Sorry about that. The funny thing is when you plug in your computer to its power source, you should really make sure that power source is also plugged into an outlet. Otherwise, it doesn't do you much good. Just figured that one out. So you guys, that was a lot of rambling. I had a really busy few weeks. So anyways, I'm going to go to the wedding. My husband went home, and Jillian and I, honestly, I just slept. I was so bulldozered from the week, and I was so grouchy, and I didn't get to knit. So on Saturday, I slept. We laid around. I knit. And then we just started our week again. And so everything has gotten back to normal. I'm a normal homebody and not seeing anybody. I go to work. I come home, do homework, pack a lunch, make dinner. It's super boring. But that makes my life seem monotonous and boring, but I love every moment of it. And I know I'm very lucky because I'm lucky to have my wonderful husband, my beautiful child, Indie String Yarn Company, which is just such a dream for me, and all of you. So thanks for letting me share my week with you every week and coming back. I really do appreciate it. Please remember that right now in the group we have the Winter is Coming Cal. Basically anything in it, anything with fiber. Knit, spin, whatever, doesn't matter, enter it. There's about 30 people entered right now, or 30 entries. So please go by. All you have to do is post an FO picture in the FO thread and be a member of the Ravelry group to be eligible. That's it. So we're giving away a skein of Madeline Tosh Sport in the Vanilla Bean colorway and a $10 pattern. So go over there and check it out and enter. Because, you know, what do you got to lose? There's 30 entries, and there is about 2 weeks left. So, or a week probably. Yeah. What day is it? Yeah, about a week. So I will close that on October 31st on Halloween and at midnight Pacific Standard Time. So you do have quite a bit. Bust something out and get it in there. And you guys, I really look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks so much, and knit with some love. Bye.